You
The
must
lobby
read
of
this
Harrison
right
Financial
now.
was
It's an
silent as a
emergency.
funeral. Employees stood in clusters,
What is this
clutching
about?
tablets and folders, watching their CEOs sit motionless on the leather couch. Everyone knew what today meant. After 30 years in business, the company was hours away from declaring bankruptcy. Daniel Harrison stared at the document in his hands. One signature, and everything his father had built would be gone. 300 employees would lose their jobs. Families would suffer. His legacy would be failure. At 42, Daniel had tried everything. The market crash had devastated their investments, and the partners' betrayal had drained their reserves. He'd sold his house, his car, liquidated every personal asset. Nothing had been enough. His executive team stood nearby, faces grim. His lawyer waited with a pen. The bankruptcy papers just needed his signature. Daniel was about to sign when he felt a small tap on his knee. He looked down to see a little girl, maybe 4 or 5 years old, with blonde hair pulled up in a messy bun. She wore a simple pink dress and looked up at him with curious blue eyes. She was pointing at the document in his hands. "Sir, you missed this number." Daniel blinked, confused. "What?" The little girl pointed more insistently at a specific line on the document. "That number is wrong. My mommy taught me numbers, and that one doesn't match the other one." Daniel looked at where she was pointing. It was a figure in the liabilities column, a number he'd seen 100 times. But something made him look closer. His chief financial officer stepped forward. "Mr. Harrison, I apologize. I don't know how this child got in here." "Security way," Daniel said sharply. He pulled out his reading glasses and examined the number more carefully. Then he grabbed his tablet and pulled up the original audit report. The number on the bankruptcy document didn't match. "Where did this figure come from?" Daniel asked, his voice tight. His CFO, a man named Bradley Marsh, shifted uncomfortably. "It's from the final audit, sir. Standard calculations. This says we owe $47 million to Westbrook Holdings, but the original audit shows $17 million. Daniel looked up at Bradley. "That's a $30 million discrepancy." The room went silent. Bradley's face drained of color. Daniel stood slowly, the bankruptcy papers forgotten. "Someone explained to me how a $30 million error ended up on the document I was about to sign." Bradley stammered. "It must be a clerical error. These things happen under pressure. Pull up every transaction with Westbrook Holdings." Daniel ordered his assistant. Now, the next hour was chaos. As accountants dug through records, the truth emerged. Bradley Marsh had been embezzling money for years, creating fake liabilities to cover his tracks. The Westbrook Holdings debt was entirely fabricated. The company wasn't anywhere near bankruptcy. It had been bled dry by someone. Daniel had trusted Don by the time the police arrived to arrest Bradley. Daniel had discovered that the actual company finances were damaged, but salvageable. Without the fraudulent debts, Harrison Financial could survive. It would take work, but recovery was possible. Through all of this, Daniel had lost track of the little girl. He found her sitting quietly in the corner of the lobby, swinging her legs and watching the commotion. He walked over and knelt down beside her. "Hi there. What's your name?" "Rosie," she said. "Rosie Baker." "Rosie, do you know what you just did? You saved my company. You saved 300 people's jobs." Rosie tilted her head. "I just saw the numbers were different. Mommy says I'm good at numbers." "Where's your mommy?" "She works here. She cleans the offices at night. But today she had to bring me because my grandma is sick." Daniel felt his heart clench. "Your mom is part of our cleaning staff." Rosie nodded proudly. "She works really hard. She wants to save money so I can go to a good school someday." Daniel stood and addressed his assistant. "Find Rosie's mother. Immediately." 10 minutes later, a woman in a cleaning uniform was escorted into the lobby. She looked terrified when she saw her daughter sitting next to the CEO. "Mr. Harrison, I am so sorry," she said, rushing forward. "My mother was supposed to watch her, but she got ill this morning, and I couldn't miss work. I told Rosie to stay in the break room. I had no idea she wandered out here. Please, I need this job. I'll make sure it never happens again, Mrs. Baker, Daniel said calmly. Please stop apologizing. The woman fell silent, fear evident in her eyes. Your daughter just saved this company from bankruptcy. She noticed an error in a document that none of my executives, lawyers, or accountants caught. Because of her, we discovered a massive fraud that would have destroyed everything. Mrs. Baker's mouth fell open. She looked at Rosie, then back at Daniel. I don't understand. Rosie saw that two numbers didn't match. She told me, and that one observation unraveled a $30 million embezzlement scheme. Daniel smiled at the little girl. You've raised an extraordinary child, Mrs. Baker. Please, call me Sarah, the woman said, still looking stunned. Sarah, I'd like to do something for your family. Your daughter gave us a gift today that I can never fully repay. But I'd like to start. Over the next few weeks, Daniel made good on his word. He promoted Sarah to a daytime administrative position with full benefits and a significant raise. He established an education fund for Rosie that will cover everything from elementary school through college. And he created a new scholarship program for children of all Harrison Financial employees. But more than that, Daniel changed how he ran his company. He started holding monthly meetings where any employee, from executives to cleaning staff, could raise concerns directly with leadership. He called it the Rosie Protocol. The most important insight that saved this company came from a 5-year-old who noticed something everyone else missed. He explained to his board, that tells me we need more eyes, not fewer. We need to listen to everyone, not just the people with fancy titles. A year later, Harrison Financial had not only survived, but thrived. The fraud exposure had actually increased investor confidence, and Daniel's transparent leadership style attracted new clients and talent. At the company's anniversary celebration, Daniel invited Rosie and Sarah as guests of honor. Rosie, now 6, wore a new dress and looked around the ballroom with wonder. Mr. Daniel, she said, tugging on his jacket, why are all these people here? Daniel knelt down to her level. They're here because of you, Rosie, because you were brave enough to speak up when you saw something wrong. But I just said what I saw. That's exactly it. You saw it clearly when everyone else was too scared or too busy to look. That's a gift, Rosie. Never lose it. Sarah watched the exchange with tears in her eyes. I still can't believe all of this happened because she pointed at a piece of paper. Sometimes the biggest changes come from the smallest moments, Daniel said. Your daughter reminded me that truth can come from anywhere, and wisdom doesn't care about age or status. She taught me to look more carefully and listen more openly. She talks about you all the time now, Sarah said. She wants to work with numbers when she grows up. Daniel smiled. When she's ready, she'll have a job waiting for her. This company owes her everything. As the celebration continued, Daniel watched Rosie dance with other children of employees, her laughter filling the room. He thought about how close he'd come to signing those papers, how a moment's hesitation and a child's observation had changed everything. He'd built his career on numbers, calculations, and projections, but the most important number of his life had been noticed by a little girl in a pink dress who simply saw that something didn't add up. Sometimes, the people who save us aren't the experts or the advisors. Sometimes, they're the ones we overlook. The ones who see the world with fresh eyes and aren't afraid to point at something and say, that doesn't look right. Daniel Harrison had learned many lessons in business, but the most valuable one came from a 5-year-old. Always look carefully, always listen openly, and never underestimate the power of someone brave enough to speak simple truth. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it with someone who needs reminding that every voice matters. Subscribe for more stories about unexpected heroes and life-changing moments. Leave a comment about a time when someone unexpected taught you an important lesson. Your stories inspire us all.